What's up YouTube, BigSweetC here with you. Got another special little video for you. Today we are talking about Call of Duty. Now, as you can see, I'm jumping right into the solos battle royale here in WarZone on Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the remastered version, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare. But this is going to be kind of a whole opinion video on Call of Duty in general. So as you watch my best run through of any of the solo, I've only done solo runs on WarZone twice. This is only my second time, and I have to say it is pretty fun to play, and we'll get into the reasons why it's fun to play in a little bit. But you know, I just kind of wanted to talk about Modern Warfare in general because it is a game that I don't generally make a lot of videos on because I'm not really a first-person shooter kind of guy. I do like some FPS games. Destiny is one of my favorites, although that has quickly kind of fallen off a cliff in terms of games that I play. I don't play that much anymore. But really, Call of Duty is really about it when it comes to FPSs for me. And the truth is, I don't generally care that much for first-person shooter games, which makes this run so funny because it's only my second term, or only my second chance at it, and what makes it funny is I only did this because one of the missions on the game is one of the challenges for the mission is to start a contract in one of the areas in the Battle Royale zone. So I was like, oh, I'll just jump in here, I'll start this contract, and that'll be that, it'll be fine. So I wasn't even taking this seriously. Like, it was the place I had to get the contract from wasn't even in the circle, so I had to like drop outside the circle and then run away from where I was attempting to go. And then once I got the contract started, I had what actually feels like, looking back on it, looks like plenty of time to actually accomplish said contract, but for whatever reason I wasn't concerned with doing anything other than starting the contract, so I peaced out after that and I just started driving around, and then all of a sudden it was like I wasn't running into anybody, so I decided to just kind of peace out, settle myself down, and see how far we could get. So it's funny, like this wasn't even like a serious attempt, because I don't generally care for first-person shooter games, and that's specifically because first-person shooters aren't made that well. Is the honest to God's truth. There's too many different variables. You have to try and make everything as even as possible. You've got all these different people from all these different areas on all these different internet sources and servers and whatnot in different areas, and some people have the gigablast, some people only have 3 or 4 or 5 6 megabyte download speed, so it is almost impossible for a good quality 100% fair first-person shooter online multiplayer game. It's almost impossible. Like, you can't really prepare for the amount of differences in each person's play system to really adequately prepare for it. There are certain things that companies can do that will help smooth those out, and the truth is Activision, the creators of Modern Warfare, don't care enough to do that. Their main goal is profit, not product. They could give a shit less if they put a turd in a box, called it Modern Warfare. As long as you guys bought it, that's all they care about. That's all they care about. And they've been dramatically proving that they really don't care about their product whatsoever, because since the whole coronavirus kind of quarantine has continued on and gotten kind of worse and bigger, and everybody's kind of social distancing themselves now and staying home and jumping online. This right now is really the time when, if you're going to brag that you have a game that can hold 150 people, you really have to have a game that can hold 150 people. I mean, it's been god awful bad. I will shoot at somebody with a close up sniper, and it's like a fart in the wind. It just vanishes as soon as it comes out of the gun. There'll be other times when I down somebody and I go to do a nose breaker, and I will hit them 6 times and nothing will happen. The other time I'll go up to a guy, first shot, boom, down he goes. I've literally pelted people with rocket launchers and didn't even down them. You know, so it's the game is trash, and Activision does not care to make the game good. And what bothers most people about this is the fact that I call this out. You know, and the reason I call this out is because of all the games that I play with my friends and other streamers and stuff like this, it is never, ever, ever the game I suggest. I've tried ample times to get my friends to play the games that I want to play, and outside of maybe a couple of times of Dark Souls 2, maybe a couple of times of Bloodborne, it's like literally trying to pull teeth to get somebody to play anything other than an FPS with me. And so I'm always the one that has to go outside of my comfort zone to play these games that I don't generally care for in the first place. That way I have a chance to play with my friends. And so if you're going to consistently play something that is built the way that it is, and they don't do anything to make it better, I'm going to call them out for that. And if you don't want to hear it because you don't like the fact that your favorite games are not built very well, then venture off into something else. You know, venture off into something else. And now a lot of people compare this to back when, you know, when it was almost impossible to get into like an Escape from Tarkov run. Now I will say there was an influx of people into that game that came to that game for the first time ever, and the servers couldn't handle it. And that is a big knock on the developers. But the difference in developers, Battlestate Games, who put together Escape from Tarkov, is a really, really small one-game company that is based out of Russia that has no money. They built a game that happened to blow up a lot faster than they expected it to, and then they turned around and pumped a bunch of funds into making sure that the servers they needed were adequate for the new influx of players. On the reverse side, Activision decided, hey, we're not just going to let 100 people in, we're going to let 150 people in, and we're not just going to have a big map, we're going to have the biggest map. And all of a sudden they had this giant influx of people. They apparently did no stress testing whatsoever because it's totally made everything ridiculous. People jumping around. I was, you know, the other day I was shooting at somebody. I laid an entire clip into somebody, did no damage, and then like he like teleported to like right next to me and shot me with the shotgun. So I mean it's straight garbage. And instead of doing the Battlestate Games a route, and that's immediately transitioning into pumping your funds into making sure people can get onto your servers and get onto your servers adequately, Activision has only come out with more ways for you to spend money through the Battle Pass. They have literally done no more investment, and by outside of changing a few controls, their update has done nothing to make the fairness, the equality in server connectivity. They've done literally nothing to make it better. So really what they're showing to you is, and the difference being, Activision is a AAA title that has a major studio backing it, that has more than enough funds to pump into more server space to make it a better game, and they refuse to, because again, they're not there to make a good quality game. They're there to make as much profit as possible. That's why they release a Call of Duty game every 6 months, not because they want a good, not because they put out a good product, because they put out a cheaply made product that can make a ton of money. That's the difference. Battlestate Games actually wants you to be able to play their game because it's good and they take heart in the care they give it. Activision doesn't give two shits whether you get in their game or not, as long as you bought the game. That's the difference. That's the difference. But the truth is, it is fun, these little battle royale games, because you get in there and you're not really paying attention at first, maybe, and then you kind of get into a couple of gunfights, and you get the adrenaline running, and all of a sudden you're down into the top 25, the top 20, top 15, then the top 10, and you do really kind of want to see how far you can take it. So it is fun. It is kind of addicting, and it's you know, because I get to play most of the times with friends of mine, it makes it fun for me to play it as well. But the truth is, I would much rather play almost any other game that I own with friends than the Call of Duty series. I unfortunately, you know, I'm not throwing any names out there because I don't want anybody to hear this and think that I'm talking specifically about them, because it's not specifically about anybody. It's all of my friends in general. They will absolutely play Call of Duty with me. They will absolutely not play Dark Souls with me, or Destiny, or almost anything that I generally enjoy. So it's, you know, again, I don't really know what I was doing with this video, but you know, I just kind of wanted to get some stuff off my chest about this game, because it is fun to play, but it is generally not a well done game. It is generally not well put together. It is generally not well taken care of, and the company responsible for it does not care one iota whether it's actually a decent product or not. And so I'm a highly competitive guy, and because of this, I kind of take the side of Ninja. What's the point of playing a game if you're not going to try and win? So I get angsty with it, because it's generally inherently not a fair game, because not the same experience I get is not exactly the same experience as the people I'm playing against get. And if you can't fix that, Dark Souls does a pretty good job of it, although there are times I've had you know, people jumping around, teleporting from space to space when I'm invading somebody or being invaded by somebody in Dark Souls. But for the most part, it doesn't it's not that obvious that it's clearly the connectivity issue that hinders your playing ability. And again, it's not necessarily the size of the audience. Again, you're only going to have enough server space for the size of your audience. It's the fact that Activision knows that they have a bigger audience and yet refuses to invest more into their product because they don't really give a shit about it, as long as you spend that $60 to buy that game. So again, just kind of wanted to get it off my chest a little bit, more of an off-the-chest rant than anything. But as you can see, kind of towards the end here, I flub up so much. If I just stay in the building, you know, I kind of panic a little bit, thinking the circle is going to get too small. And if I just kind of stay in that building, the 2 and 3 1 and 3 kind of take them out, and maybe I take the guy who ends up winning, this Joe Kuksky or whatever his name was. But we were close. It was a very exciting end. Hilarious, because I didn't even try to. I wasn't like, the idea was not to win. The idea was to just do this one thing. I did it almost immediately, and then I end up almost winning it all. So because I do fairly well in this one, I probably will play it more often than not. It is the new hotness that most people are playing all the time anyway, so it'll probably be me playing a lot of it. Even though I do generally put it down. I mean, I wouldn't even put the Call of Duty franchise in probably my top 10, maybe in my top 20 franchises. But I'm just generally not an FPS guy. For example, Overwatch. I only know one other person that plays Overwatch, so I never play it, even though they donated it to the channel, and I feel terrible. For Honor is another one that was donated to the channel, and I just don't play it very much, because I don't generally enjoy. I like the game for a little bit, but not extended periods of time. But I don't have everybody and their mother playing it, so I don't generally play it that often. But for whatever reason, Call of Duty is the exact opposite. Everybody and their mom seems to love playing this game, and so it's the only one I ever get to play with anybody. So just keep that in mind. I will consciously make an effort to not complain about stuff as much while we're playing. But I get caught up. I'm very competitive. I get caught up in the moment, and you know, I'm a very off the cuff guy. I think that's what the reactions, you know, are the best part of live streams and videos in general, in my opinion. So I'm gonna keep being me, but I am gonna make a conscious effort to be better at it than I have been. Hopefully that helps out everybody else that I have to play with. So either way, I'm gonna wrap this one up before it's too long. That's gonna do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me, wishing YouTube, that's you, wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. Long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.